Well, good morning from sunny Las Vegas. Before you go into business, what should you think about? Well, I was chatting with some people that are already gone into business, and it's like, did you guys think about these things before you went into business, or did you just go into business? And so let's cover off what it is I think really should be focused in on before you get into business for yourself. So too many people going into business and they've heard this lesson. So here's number one, right? The old saying of do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life is incorrect. If you do what you love, you'll work harder than anybody else. If you do what you love, you'll actually be the hardest working person in business. So when we really think about starting a business or going into business for yourself, whether you're buying a business, which is what I recommend, or whether you're just starting a business from scratch, the whole do what you love thing is not necessarily the truth. What you got to learn to love, and this is point number one, what you got to learn to love is business. You got to learn to love sales. You got to learn to love marketing. You got to learn to love team building. You got to learn to love management and systemization and planning. You have to learn to love the process of business. Loving your product or service is one thing. But once you're in business, it's no longer just about the product or service. You know, that's a very important thing. Oh, hey, Grant, thanks for reminding me. Type in where you're at. If you're new to drive time, we all type in where we're at so we know where we're going on the drive today. So point number one, learn to love every aspect of business. And that brings me to point number two. Learn enough about every aspect of business. And this is why I always recommend before starting your own business, get a job where, you work in sales. Have someone else pay you to be a salesperson and learn sales. Get a job in marketing. Learn marketing by working for someone else. Get a job in finance or in all the different areas, because whether you like it or not, the hardest part of owning your own business is the learning aspect of it. And you're going to have to learn a whole bunch. And if you don't have to learn enough to do it, but you have to learn enough to be able to recruit someone to do it. You have to know enough to ask questions and say, okay, I'm hiring a marketing person. Do I know enough about marketing to hire a marketing person? So the learning work of owning your own business is the hardest work there is. Learning sales, learning marketing, learning planning, systemization, learning finance. And that's why I always recommend you get a coach or you do the reading, you do all that sort of stuff. So this is a very important aspect of being a great business owner. That brings me to point number three. You've not only got to be great at the job of the business, like if it's carpentry, you got to be a great carpenter. If it's hairdressing, you got to be a great hairdresser. If it's if you're selling insurance, you got to be great at insurance. But you got to become a great business owner, okay? No one ever tells you that you got to learn to be an owner. You have to learn the aspects of ownership, the leadership, the marketing, the management. You have to learn all these aspects of running a business, and no one can teach you leadership. You have to kind of learn it as you go, and that's a big part of it, because you have to grow into a leader. It's not reading a book, it's becoming. There's a big difference between knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom is where you become a leader, not just learn the skills of leadership. And so that's why learning comes first, but you have to become a great business owner, not just become a great hairdresser or whatever the service or product is of the business. Point number four, no one seems to teach you this, but before you go into business for yourself, you had better learn how to buy customers. Now, what do I mean by buying customers? Well, you can read my book called Buying Customers. The simple fact is you need a marketing budget to be able to buy enough customers. You need cash to buy customers. Customers don't just show up. You don't hang the shingle and people show up. You've actually got to do marketing. And if I put $1,000 into a marketing campaign and I get 10 new customers, well, it just cost me $100 to buy each customer, okay? So if you don't allocate a budget to buy customers, I see too many small businesses fail. Oh, hey, Elaine. Hey, Carla. Where you at? Type in where you're at so we know what city you're in. Remember that. It's part of the drive. if I don't allocate enough budget to buy customers, my business will fail. So many businesses, they spend all of their money on their brand new office, or all of their money on their super duper shop, and all this beautiful signage and all this beautiful stuff, and they have no money left over to go out and acquire customers with. You've got to have marketing budget to acquire customers if you want to succeed in business. There's no two ways about it other than that fact, okay? Point number 5 about things you got to think about before you open your own business. Do some market research and see what level of demand there is. What is the level of demand for the product or service? I remember many moons ago chatting with a young man who was going to open a coffee shop. Now, in the area he was going to open a coffee shop, and he wanted to open it there because it was just down the street from where he lived. In that area, there were already 7 coffee shops. I said, well, what's the average revenue of those coffee shops? He said, I don't know. I said, well, what's the number of cars that pass that area per day? What's the traffic? What's all the simple market research questions that you should know before you open a business in there. What's the average price point of coffee at all the other coffee shops? How much, what type of coffee is sold most in that area? He said, yeah, but I have the best coffee. I'm like, no one cares if you have the best coffee. McDonald's doesn't have the best burger, yet they're the biggest burger chain in the world type thing. So you got to understand, marketing beats the best product every single day. So do your market research and know. And that leads me to point 6 before you start your own business. Show me the plan. Write a business plan, even if you don't need investors, right? Write a business plan that if you had to show an investor a plan to get them to invest in starting up your business, write a plan to that level. If you want investors to invest, you need to write a plan. Now, by the way, if you're already in business and you've missed any of these phases, go back and do 1 or 2 of these phases that you've missed, because you've just got to do these things. Point number 7, my final point about being in business for yourself. Hey, Kurt, good to have you here from Belgium. Point number 7, my final point around things you got to think about before you go into business for yourself. How do I put this politely? It's going to take twice as long and cost twice as much. Just make it as simple as that. Whatever you assume it's going to cost, it'll cost twice that. However long you think it's going to take twice as long as that, okay? I know that we'd all love to think about the fact that we're all geniuses in this world. I love to think that, even for me, as I start businesses in this day and age, I've had 50 different companies. I currently own and operate, 11 companies. So we'll be down to 10 soon. We've got an exit coming up. And you sit back and you think about it, it doesn't matter. The best case scenario there's always something that's got to change. What you think you're going to sell at the beginning is not what you end up selling 12 months, 2 years in. The way you thought you would price it, not going to be the way you price it. Everything will change, every single aspect of what you're doing will be different once you get in there. How you sell the product or service, if you stay stagnant, if you keep thinking, no, that's what I want to sell, and the market keeps saying to you, can we buy this? Can we buy this? And you keep saying, no, I want to sell this. No, don't. Adjust, change, move with the market, respond to the market. What the market wants to buy is what you need to sell. You need to be like a newspaper. Write the news of that day if people want to read, okay? Be the person that shifts with the market. If you're the person that stays stagnant, you'll be out of business. If you look at the marketplace, Coca-Cola, why do they sell bottled water? Dasani, why did they buy Smart Water? Why did they go? Why are these big companies keep shifting and changing with the times? That's how they stay relevant. That's how they stay in business. Everything will change. Everything will take longer. Everything will cost more than you assume. Be fluid. Shift with the marketplace. The old way of doing it will disappear, and you'll find a new way of doing it. You look at Apple. Apple now, who would have thought it was a computer business? Not anymore. It's a phone business. Not anymore. It's an app business. Not anymore. It's a subscription business. Look at Disney, how they've shifted and changed with the marketplace. Everything shifts and change, and you got to be willing to shift and change too. If you stay with what the market wants to buy, you'll do amazing. If you keep trying to sell what you want to sell, you'll get left behind out there in that marketplace. Anyway, take care. Have a good day. Before you get into business, you should have thought of these things. If you're already in business, go back and review them and make some shifts, make some changes. Anyway, good to chat to you from Drive Time today. Look forward to chatting again tomorrow. What's your biggest lesson? Type it in for me. What is your biggest lesson of the day? Bye for now.